All right. Do we have New Year's resolutions?
No, but I got taglines.
Okay, let's do those instead.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Are you having trouble starting up? I don't. I never like them.
No?
I mean, I like starting them being like, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to get a butt this year, but I'm just a sad, skinny white guy. I can't get a butt.
Not going to get fit. Just going to lose a little bit of weight. That's my goal.
Earlier, you were like, I'm going to start working out.
I never said working out.
Okay.
Never said that.
Well,
I would never ever say that.
To get fit, we might have to sober up from this show, but that's okay.
Right.
But so we have taglines?
Yes, we do. Ready? A celebration of the macabre.
That would be really good if the majority of the universe knew what macabre meant, and I consider myself to be the majority, and I don't really know what macabre is meaning. Meaning. Great.
Also,
dictionary.
Nobody's celebrating the macabre in this movie.
Okay, so what is the macabre?
Like
just... corn on the macabre?
Oh, no. It's just like the morbid, it's, yeah.
Oh, that makes that Rocky Horror line more sense. That makes it more sense. Oh, This is going to be a fun one. I can tell.
We've only had 2 sips of alcohol. And then the next one. This New Year's, you're invited to a killer party.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but also, like, I feel like other movies have used that, but, like, switched out New Year's. Like, this slumber, you're invited to a killer party.
Right.
It's like, wait.
This Halloween, this whatever. Yeah.
This Easter.
Yep.
Well.
So, with 6 completely unknown songs, 3 plays of the title song that shares the same name as the movie, 7 deaths, 2 throat slashes, 1 suffocation with a giant bag of weed, 1 fake mustache, 1 pre-scream voice changer, 1 slow-speaking articulate killer, 7 killer costume changes, 1 decapitated head, and 1 dummy thrown off a roof. With an IMDb score of 4.8 and a Rotten Tomatoes of 14%, we have no budget information. We have no gross information.
The gross information was that he mutilated their boobies. That's the gross information.
It's not another teen holiday slasher.
Oh.
No, it's New Year's Evil.
Let's drop some bombs. I just wanted to make fun of you.
Let's drop some bombs.
What do you think of that? I think if you're going to kill someone, kill them. Don't stand there talking about it.
This year 5. I have a 73, 18, 14, 11. I'm going to form a 9, 11, 7, 3. See if I can't do a 6, 1, 4, 9, 2, 8, B. I'm over.
The sucker was carrying a gizmo. I did you a favor, Trash.
Call me evil. Garbage day!
Huh?
No!
Welcome to Bounce Away, the only show recorded inside a projection booth. My name is Jonathan Young. Joining me in the studio, as always, is...
Jarrett Seifert. My New Year's resolution is something really meta that you just can't put your finger on.
Okay.
All right.
It's okay, because we haven't hit the new year yet, so you can work on that one. And
Well, our schedule lines up weird with the final weeks of the holidays. Like our Christmas episode comes out a full 6 days before Christmas.
Right.
But then our New Year's episode comes out also a full 6 days.
Well, it gives you time to listen to us while you're like traveling.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's like
perfect.
We're letting the comments come in and feel out how the episode is before the actual holiday hits.
Yeah, right. This was the worst holiday-themed episode ever.
Our whole month is holiday-themed. Get over it.
Seriously. But this is not a Christmas theme. This is our New Year's theme, which, surprisingly, this is one of many New Year's, like, slashers that are out there. There's another movie that came out the same year called Terror Train.
Oh.
About a killer on a train that's like...
terrible.
Yeah, it's a terrible train.
Yeah.
And...
Just rips apart.
Yeah, so this is our New Year's episode, and I hope everybody enjoyed our extravaganza last week.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
I just love live episodes and drinking.
Right?
I mean, it's nice because Abby and Thomas are our friends, and like they get to just come in and hang out with us for a bit. So it's not, and it's also like interactive. So it's not just like, okay, next scene, what did you think? But we're also not that boring.
Yeah, right.
But it's like as it's going on, we're like, did anyone else? Okay.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna point. Okay, cool.
Well,
it's interesting to see what people like when we have guests. It's interesting to see what they like find or point out versus like what the two of us do.
Yeah.
As well. So, yeah, big shout out to Abby and Thomas. They were on our drinking party episode.
Well,
what?
Is it still called Drinking Party? Because our first was Drinking Party Massacre.
Right.
This one is.
Well, I mean, it's still a drinking party.
Yeah.
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 So, but it's for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. So if you have not...
Silent drinking, deadly drinking.
Ooh. that just sounds like a problem.
That's my alcoholism talking again. Silent drinking, deadly drinking.
Right.
Literally, that's secret shots, which I would do at parties. I'd pull like one person away and be like, hey, I'm about to do a shot. You want to do a secret shot with me? And they're like, what's a secret shot? I'm like, we just do a shot and don't tell anyone. We're just literally just alcoholism.
So
but
people just
made
don't
it fine.
understand why you've gotten to the brink.
People are like, he got drunk really fast off of like
He had
3 beers. And I'm like,
eggnog.
it's a party. I love parties.
Yeah, so if you guys have not tuned into that, go to our YouTube right now. You can search for Bombs Away, Silent, a comedy commentary, and that is where you'll be able to actually watch Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 while we talk over it Mystery Science Theater style. It's a lot of fun. We had a blast. Thank you to Abby and Thomas for that. And then also what came out is the official episode for that at the same time, and we'd like to thank Andy for coming in for that one.
Thank you, Andy.
So, yeah, moving on to today's film.
Yep.
Like I said, it's basically not another holiday slasher.
Yeah.
You know,
Except it's just kind of, it sets it up to be such like a potential, and then it just
it has a lot of potential.
It doesn't do anything with it.
The theming and his MO kind of fades away by the third time zone.
I think it was just too young for its year.
So this is, I have mentioned them on the show before, but this is officially our first canon film. So Canon, as I've mentioned before on the show, was the crazy Israeli producers that basically would throw an assload of money at something that all they had was like the poster for. Like basically they would sell to a distributor the poster and be like, hey Fox, we got this crazy movie with like Sylvester Stallone. He's gonna be running around and he's gonna be in a leather jacket. It's gonna be badass. It's gonna sell so much money. And they're like, okay. And they're like, we've already made it, so give us the money for the distribution rights. And they'd be like, all right, here's the money. And then they'd actually take that money and then take the next 6 months to actually make it before it was due.
Wait, was the movie you were describing Rocky?
No, that was Cobra.
So Rocky 2?
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Right. Rocky 10. So that's the history of canon films. They're some of their most famous bombs have been like the Apple. And then of course, I'd say their biggest blockbuster that bombed is the 1987 He-Man movie, Masters of the Universe. So this is surprisingly, compared to if you've ever listened to the documentary, which we'll be talking about on another person's podcast soon. We'll give you more information on that. If you ever have seen the documentary Electric Boogaloo, it's all about canon films and these Israeli brothers. So in that, this is surprisingly seeing like all the canon films, and I've seen a lot of them. this one's not that
Brag about
bad.
yourself, Donald Trump. Jeez. I've seen so many Cannon films.
So many.
I can't
so
do
many
Donald Trump impersonations just because I don't want to stoop that low. Oh, that was the driest delivery I've ever done. I just stared into Jonathan's eyes. Being
Cannon,
like, I did it.
Cannon films, so bad, sad.
Seen them all. All.
Seen them, really failing Cannon films, fake films, bad.
We will never talk about New Year's Evil, by the way.
No, we're going to get into it right now.
Balls deep.
So the movie starts out with being like, hey, you know L.A., right? Because
Yeah.
I was like, I know that Holiday Inn. That's in
Okay.
Long Beach.
Is that...
Yeah.
Is that
That's the Holiday Inn in Long Beach.
downtown Long Beach?
Yeah, the Circle building. Yeah.
I live in Long Beach, and I was like, wonder where that hotel is.
Yeah.
There's...
It's
well,
like...
there's two Circle hotels.
I know there is, because the
There's one
other
off-
Circle hotel is like where the girl in the beginning of Lethal Weapon threw herself off that building.
But is that one still in Long Beach? Because there's one in Long Beach that's right off the 405. People don't care. They don't know.
No. Well,
like-
some do. But mind you, in this whole movie, this is the emptiest LA's ever been.
Yeah.
Ever.
So we start
For
off,
a New Year's,
yeah.
you would think it's a little bit busier.
So we start off, we're in a hotel, and that's like our main building of the movie. But don't worry, there are only 8 scenes throughout the entire movie. So
Tops.
you just have to remember, like, hotel as scene 1. Yeah, there's actually probably, like, hotel, psych ward,
Car.
well, bar,
Different cars.
bar, car.
Car.
Well, there's the bar. There's
Baseball
car,
field.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was a baseball field. Bar, car, then gas station, then movie.
Liquor store.
Yeah, liquor store, then drive-in.
Drive-in. That's
Then
right.
car 2, then baseball field.
And
Yeah, I think maybe 9 scenes total.
and outside of the hotel.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the hotel.
Right.
But so we get this establishment. There's a lady. She's a disc jockey, and she's talking to her friend. Meanwhile, like, this
You
movie...
mean her manager who looks like a young Anthony Hopkins for no reason?
I was talking about the phone call.
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh,
Which-
her friend.
Which her friend on the phone call is like young African American, has like dreads with puka shells in them.
Oh,
Which I
the
was
puka
like,
shells that are making more noise than the
Yeah.
noises that she's hearing in the room.
but I was like,
She's like, "What was that?" Oh my god.
so she gets a call from her friend and is like, "Where's my husband?" And I swear she was supposed to be in Palm Springs. I didn't know they were in the same hotel
Right.
at all.
By the way, well, because all the hotel like doors have like knockers on them as if they're
Giant
apartments. No. No, but they have like door like that
Yeah.
they would be apartments,
knockers
not
on them, yeah.
hotel rooms.
Well, this is also, I think, 1980s.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe the hotels were different then. There was a lot of this that I was like, I wonder if Jonathan knows. And I was like, he's not that old.
No.
I was like,
no,
jeez.
it's still this is 1980.
Yeah.
I'm still like 3 years away from
Yeah.
being born.
Yeah. See,
So-
you're not that old.
Yeah.
But yeah, she gets a call from her friend, and this is kind of establishing that one lady has a show. Like, it's just a show that she's doing. Surprise!
Sure.
She's like, it says she's a disc jockey, but really she's just kind of like the host.
She's more
for-
of a MTV VJ,
Yeah,
at least in this.
Vag J.
Yeah.
Vajay.
Aw, Vajayjay. She's an MTV Vajayjay.
But yeah, it's basically like, what is it called? What's the radio show that they're doing, or the live radio show?
I
It
don't
is a
remember
live
the
radio
name of the
show.
show, but I know
like
that she's doing it
Countdown-
for K-Rock. She
It was
says
K-Rock?
K-Rock.
Oh,
Yeah.
But it was like Countdown Extra. I don't know. It was like
It's basically like a Dick Clark
yeah,
like knockoff, but it's basically it's a
Countdown
show,
Live?
something like that.
yeah.
But it's basically like you call in and you request the top 100 songs for the night.
Which I feel like you should have that shit figured out before
Pretty much.
New Year's Day.
Right.
What are you gonna come out like in January 2nd? Be like, we finally counted everything. You guys really loved the School's Out.
Right.
What was the song?
Which-
the only song
hey,
that I knew.
Can you play School's Out no, what? No, she's. Can you play We Don't Need No Education?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, we don't have the rights to that. Bye. The movie can't afford it.
Well, she said something like, you and everyone else, or something like that. Like, she made it sound like it's a popular song.
Who basically, like, wears giant clown stencil makeup.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in this movie has, like, basically they were like, get the cheek stencil.
Yeah.
Because it's this gigantic, like, rouge on your cheeks.
So I'm a fan of drag queens. And I
Okay.
was like, oh, this is how they do their makeup.
Yeah.
This is where they got
And
all
hair,
of their inspiration.
and costume.
Yeah.
Because she's
80s.
wearing, like, a pink xylophone.
That can
like-
transform into other xylophone shapes.
Yeah.
Just with a zipper and, like, the sleeves roll down. It was a very versatile outfit.
Extremely. She looked like she was in pink saran wrap.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, like, what is it? The cellophane?
That's what I meant.
There's, like, well, it's
Cellophane.
like whenever
what were we saying? Xylophone?
I don't know.
Damn it.
But it's like that stuff that you put around gift bags so you can still see through it, but it's got like a colorful sheer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was probably the gayest I've ever sounded, and I've talked about butt sex.
sure.
It gives it a sheer, and gift baskets are just so great. Put some
So-
cheese, some wine,
Um,
Cracker Barrel cheese. Oh, she
Her
calls
friend.
Friend. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Sorry, the movie.
first scene of the movie.
She calls her, and her friend's like, I don't know. I saw your husband in Palm Springs, but I only saw the lower half of him
What?
doing coke.
I-
Didn't she say something like that?
I missed that. The lower half of him.
She only saw half of him. Is like her comment about him, which I was like, that either means that he was like sleeping with her, or she walked in and she only saw his butt like doing someone else in.
Right?
Like,
Was he in like one of those weird like opposite stalls?
I don't know. like she,
Opposite shower
she makes
stalls?
a comment like she only saw part of him, but then she's like, "Damn it!" and like hangs up the phone. And
Yeah.
like, fine, I'll do the show without him. Like,
Right.
all right, well, you probably would have done the show without him because he's not your co-host.
Yeah.
And it seems
what
like your
is his
marriage
job?
is terrible.
Okay, I don't know what his job in this movie is. Is
Bruce
it
Jenner body double / face double?
accurate?
Because it looks like Bruce Jenner before transitioning.
Yeah.
Sorry, Caitlyn Jenner before transitioning.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
but it does, like, wearing a tracksuit, has that stupid parted
The
ugly hair.
tracksuit that gives him an additional 50 pounds.
Yeah. It's like, oh, not flattering. But so she calls her friend, and her friend is like, yeah, bye. Hangs up the phone, is getting ready in the bathroom, putting on makeup, more makeup, I guess. And she, like, closes the shower curtain and, like, reaches to turn it on, doesn't turn it on. She's like, I'll shower later. And then
She was reaching to turn it off. It was dripping.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
what it was then.
Right?
Side note, watched this 4 hours ago and then took a nap afterwards.
So that was the thing is basically it's dripping, she can hear it, but somehow she can hear that over her puka beads that are clanking around in her dreads.
Like some white girl that went to the Bahamas for vacation and she's 12 years old.
I'm Bo Derek.
Yeah.
And so she hears the dripping.
My scalp's bleeding.
Yeah.
White chicks. Don't do buka shells, white chicks.
My
Don't
dreads,
get dreads.
my dreads are caught in the ride's mechanics.
What is that from?
That's from Always
Final
Sunny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also with the
From the Jersey
booze
Shore
ham.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, rum ham.
Tangent. Oh, my God.
Rum
We're bad.
ham!
Yes. So then she, like, hears someone open her door, but, like, looks and sees the door open, is like, oh, that's weird, and closes it.
Yeah.
Goes back into the bathroom to finish touching up her more makeup.
And then hears that the faucet's dripping again. Which is like, you, like...
Just request a new hotel room. I'm kidding.
But, okay, here's the thing is, she tightened that faucet to stop it from dripping.
From drinking.
Right?
Yes.
And then he just loosens it a bit so it drips again to get her attention?
Like,
right?
I'm going to waste the water.
Which means you also knew that was an issue
Yeah.
30 seconds ago before you entered the apartment?
Maybe she was like, oh, it was probably the other knob.
Right.
I didn't trust that one.
So basically, yeah, she hears the dripping again. She goes to tighten the faucet again, and there he is in the bathtub.
And he
Which,
strangles her.
if you're hearing it drip into water,
Yeah.
that means that he's standing in a bathtub
Very
full of water.
unsafe, yeah. Ooh. So she's dead, right?
Yeah,
And
obviously.
then we flash over to the main lady, and she's like...
Her name's Diana.
Diana, yes. So Diana is... God, that is so 1980s.
Yeah.
Sorry. Diana.
Or Diane.
Diane.
Yeah, I
They
think
both
it's
they're
actually
the same
Diane.
name.
Yeah.
But so she starts getting ready. She's like going out, and her son shows up, and the son,
This is
A
an
bit
amazing
awkward.
costume.
and he's like
So-
in like tux with tails.
He's in a tux with tails, jeans, and thin 80s tie, and like a collar that is like half popped up, but not fully popped up, and like long, flowy surfer hair, blonde surfer hair. This is Derek. Now, Derek, in this movie, has no point.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
He like has a tiny point at the end, but
yeah. We'll get.
he's like, "Mom, I got the lead in a movie or in a TV series, and the
Yeah.
pilot shoots next week." And the mom's like, "I'm busy. Talk to you later." And he's obviously butthurt by that.
Right.
And so then Diane goes downstairs and she starts the countdown. She starts the radio show. Oh, we also start off this movie with this scene of
From
like,
the Warriors?
yeah, like 5 punks like going in to this party and being like, "We got tickets."
You
blah."
think they're not important
Yeah.
whatsoever. It is
Never
literally
comes back.
okay. The title sequence of this movie,
The entitle.
yeah,
the entitle
is
sequence.
is one. It is the New Year's Evil theme song that the band Shadow wrote and performed for this movie, and it is not even 5. There's like 3 in the front, 4 sitting on the back row of seats,
Going down this
and
this
then one
street.
more. Yeah. So that's 8.
But they're all like cheering and hooting and hollering and like throwing signs and I don't know, drinking. Were they drinking? I wasn't paying attention to that.
I don't even know.
But-
I just know that there's like somebody just rolls up next to them in a van and flashes them, but you don't see the breast until like they drive away.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just love that whenever there are scenarios like this in movies, there's always the driver that's like, "I'm having fun, but I'm responsible," and it's just kind of like, "Woo!" We'll throw like a hands up, like,
guys.
"Yay!" and then keep looking forward. Maybe they'll be brooding with a cigarette because they're the angry friend that they always have
Sometimes
around.
their girl is like necking them.
Yeah,
Right? Where he's like, it's kind of hot, but I gotta drive. Yeah. Where everybody else is like, woo! Smashing glass on the street and just like pointing at other people and being like, you want to go?
I feel like there was a movie.
What?
The Wraith.
The Wraith? Yeah.
Who were the
that's
two?
accurate.
Who were the two characters?
Skank.
Yeah, Skank. Skank and his
Gutter Boy.
boyfriend. Skank and Gutter Boy. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were basically the characters.
Yeah.
That is exactly
Well, this
what I was
isn't
like.
that
I've seen
80s
these
punk
characters
era.
before.
Yeah. Right? But none of this whole 80s punk thing matters to this movie whatsoever.
At all. And it's like they try. Okay, so this is like it's a television broadcast of this radio show, and what they do is they have different stations set up through New York, Chicago, Denver,
Yes.
and LA.
Right.
And so each one is broadcasting up until they hit midnight, showing off their party.
Which is what they do, like
Yeah.
on regular New Year's.
And so that's happening. Cool. There's a party in LA, and it's majority like punk, air quotes around the word punk rockers. And every time that it flashes over to them, so throughout the movie, there are like 6 songs, did you say?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
6 random songs played by like 3 random bands
Yeah,
that nobody
one of them
knows.
is like the Japanese Men.
Made in
And I was like,
Japan, they're
Made
called.
in Japan.
Yeah.
All white guys. Who knew? But so there's like these, so like,
Well, mom and dad were vacationing, and then,
I
there
came
I
out.
was, and I was made there, and then so was Billy, too.
dual
It was weird.
citizenship. But yeah, so you get like 6 different cutscenes, which like fills out a lot of the bulk of the movie because it's like almost the full song.
I feel like there are hours of footage of just people dancing
Yeah.
to a song that isn't the song that's playing.
Yeah, so like every time we cut over to them, there's like
zombies.
yeah. At one point, they literally do look like zombies because it's like here's a slow song, and then
Oh,
they're
the
just, like,
slow song.
but they're like slow dancing and like, but still kind of moshing. Like we care about this, but like we're kind of tired.
Brains.
Yeah, it's literally they just look like a bunch of zombies. But all the scenes throughout this
But
movie,
like 1 or 2 people are bashing into other
Yeah.
people, trying to do
It's like, calm
what is that
down.
called? Mosh pit.
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
But if you've ever been the intense person, like during a slow song, people get really upset because I did that at prom. But me and my friend were having a good time because Halo by Beyonce was playing and everyone was like slow dancing. But then whenever it'd be like, coo, 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 everywhere I'm looking now, I'm surrounded. Like it did like the breakdown in the chorus. And that's when we would just like jam to ourselves, but like to the beat still. Like we were cool. We were on fire. I loved it. God bless you, Amy Tripp. She lives in Colorado. I love her. She's a hippie mom.
Okay.
But so, what was I saying? I don't know. Okay, but so those scenes we can all skip. But it's such a chunk of the movie to where it's like, there's a good, I would say, 20 to 25 minutes of just people dancing and then playing music. That doesn't matter for this movie.
And they don't look like they're having fun.
No.
Nobody really looks like they're having fun in this movie. It's like, why are you at this party?
Yeah. It's like, we're going to play different tempos of music for the next 15 minutes, match that tempo, and then we'll find a song that
doesn't match that tempo.
Like, that kind of slightly does, but doesn't. Like, and that's what they use to fill in gaps, because the rest of this movie is one guy going around. So she starts off her radio show, and she gets a call, and it's like the calls are being streamed live.
Mm-hmm.
And so call in to give your vote.
Sure.
Have a chat with Blaze.
Yeah, her name's Blaze.
On the radio, she's Blaze.
Right.
And so...
Is that because of her fiery red hair or passion for the music?
Neither. She just sucks.
Neither.
She
it's
just
because
likes
of her
fire.
rosy red cheeks.
Yeah. But so she gets a call, and the guy's like, hello. I can't do his voice.
Oh, my God. He goes, all right.
He's using a voice changer.
Kind of. He's supposed to be using, because this is a part of the trivia of the movie, is he's supposed to be using what like throat cancer patients use, like a voice box, like that. Hello. But it didn't have any inflection, like any tone to it that they wanted to like menacing, because what those really do is like monotone. Right? And they're like, well, that's not scary. That's like a robot, right? And so like because they actually recorded it through one of those, and it was just monotone and dumb, right? And so like the sound designer actually like was like, I'll just do it like this.
Oh no.
Yeah. And they were like,
one of his lines.
Beautiful, right? Because okay, our killer is like, hello, Blaze. Right? And she's like, yeah, who's this?
Hey, what you voting for?
Right? I'm voting for evil. Right? And you're like, what? Yes, because it's New Year's Evil. And you can call me Evil. That's exactly how it is.
And then he's like, I'm going to kill one person each time.
No, you're saying it too well.
Oh,
I'm going to kill one person per time zone.
It's too
right?
slow.
Yes, it's so slow. Right? On the stroke of midnight. You're like, could you just get to it?
I'm like, say it. We all know where you're going with
it. Because the movie has him do this, right?
Yeah.
Slows it down for us. But then proceeds to be like, I don't think they got it. Let's have the detective re-explain it to Blaze later on in the film.
Oh, there's a detective there. He's pretty boring, by the way.
Like,
he doesn't serve a purpose.
Well, when your detective has a 3-piece suit on, like a 3-piece 70s like suit.
I was called in and I was about to have a good New Year's, you idiots.
I fucking hate punks.
Yeah.
Because this movie is also just biased to punks.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, you know... with all these crazies in the room, I'm not surprised one of them's calling you from what, their cell phone?
Yeah, I'm surprised. So this film also like lightly tries to be diverse, but they only have 2 people of color throughout it.
Yes.
And the first one is the very first kill, so I was like,
right? Well,
stereotype.
Way to
of
go,
a movie.
token.
Yeah. And then the other one is, there's a black man and he's standing.
Oh, you mean in the elevator at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the black man that's covered in, like, cellophane tape?
Yeah. Cellophane.
I can't do it.
Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane.
Yeah, he's just covered in, like, plastic see-through tape as a shirt. That guy? Yeah.
Those are the only 2 people of color because
they're like...
Los Angeles doesn't have any...
clearly on heroin.
Yeah. No one... Like, if you go to L.A., you're gonna rarely see white people. I won't lie.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was happening in the 1980s, but probably not something good because there were riots soon after. No, that was in the 90s. Jesus.
Yeah, that was literally like 12 years later.
Anywho, yeah. So where are we? I don't know.
He
Bad
basically
movie.
Evil's like,
oh, he makes
I'm
his
going
phone call.
I'm going to kill on every single. I don't even want to do the
Time
voice.
zone,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm going to do
Stuff-
every single one of the time zones, and then when I get to LA's time zone, right? Not saying that he's actually traveling time zone to time zone.
Yeah, okay, that was my first thing. I was like, you can't even fly that fast.
Right. No, he's just saying he will kill in the stroke of midnight of every time zone. He's in LA, but he's saying that Blaze will be the last kill.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically the setup. And this broadcasts live to the whole world. Mm-hmm. Or just maybe LA. I don't really.
But it also
because
seems
it's
like
K-Rock.
the radio station isn't. The show isn't being broadcast. Like the telephone isn't being broadcast live because people like don't really care. Like, what? You just got a call about a murder? Whatever. Keep dancing.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like she got it and was just like, ugh. But also, what are the chances of getting the exact radio host from a call-in show?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are those chances that you're going to call and be like, oh, thank God I got Blaze?
No, because basically there were 4 telephone operators behind her.
Yeah.
And they basically answer the call and I guess screen it and then hand it over to her.
Yeah, but still, what if they're like, this guy's creepy? No.
Right. Well, maybe. Okay, so I had this question too. I was like, why is he disguising his voice? Right? Because part of me was like, is he disguising his voice for? And this is the thing. I'm just gonna say it, guys. Spoiler alert. Right? Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen this movie already, 1, it's on YouTube. Go watch it.
Yeah.
And 2, like, it's so fucking obvious it's the husband. Okay?
I mean, I thought it was the kid, but whenever they showed the kid listening to the phone call, I was like, oh, there it is.
No, yeah, the kid got taken out of the equation almost immediately. And that's the thing. The killer was broadcast because the kid saw that and then was like, Mom, like called her. Right?
Well, she called up to him.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so we get our establishment. We also during that scene, we literally see the killer's face. So there's no fear about it.
Yep, you're like, well, he's a white male, and trying to disguise his voice for no reason.
So then we see the killer, and he goes into a psychiatric ward. Okay, side note, I thought the killer was like, I'm going to kill people close to you.
She is. The first kill is.
What?
Well, the first 2 kills are.
Close to her?
Right? Yes.
How?
Okay, so...
The psychiatric ward is where her husband stayed.
And the kill before that is the black girl.
Yeah.
Right?
But then...
But he explains, he's like, something about, like, she knew the nurse.
Maybe.
I think.
I don't know. It seemed like they were trying to make it like he's killing her friends, but then it just kind of didn't happen.
Right, because he says, I'm going to kill people close to you or something.
Yeah.
And I think that was the plan.
But then it
went away after the first kill.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah. So we go to the sanatorium, and he sneaks in, like right behind like somebody. Yeah. And then they switch over to like all these mental patients, right? And
dancing.
They're dancing just as well as the people at the party, though. Like everybody's, I'm like, did they just pull a couple extras from the party and was like, now you're gonna be mental patients?
Right.
Dance the same way at school.
And then, so our guy walks in and he finds another nurse and he's like, sorry, I'm late for my shift. I'm here to cover someone. And they're like, of course you are. And then he pulls out a bottle of champagne and he's like, hey, nurse, that's 23 but looks 85. Let's go find a place to drink the champagne before I clock in. And she's like, yeah. Right. And they go.
He's the most prepared nurse slash killer I've ever
Oh,
seen.
he is actually super prepared for a killer, which
Super
I was like,
he has
I
so
like
many
it.
costume changes.
Yeah.
Like what? And this
That's
is
what
this
you
is
have
what
to
I was
do.
going to ask you. Like, what is his actual profession? Like, it'd be one thing if it was like, oh, I work in the movie industry or
his
something.
profession is thinking things through.
Right?
That's what his profession
I
is. I'm
just
proud of him.
don't know. Or it might be elevator technician. I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure.
he's real good at that. But so he gets the lady
Master
in the room.
of disguise.
So they put on the radio and they're like listening to the countdown, and as it's counting down, you get the shadow of the knife, and then he stabs her and kills her.
Yeah, he's full on making out with her, right? Which is another thing where part of his motivation,
his boner
for doing all this, right, is the fact that
he's got motherly issues.
Well, yeah, and the
Women
wife has
issues.
been running around with every man in town, he says.
Well, she hasn't been running around with every man in town. She's been flirting with every
Flirting,
man.
right?
Like, you flirt a lot.
He's just done worse right now.
Yeah.
Well, other than the killing. I
Yeah.
mean, like he's making out with her, which I'm like, do you think that maybe he was like, damn it, I should have timed it better. I could have slept with her.
Yeah.
But got to
Should've
do it at
killed
the
her
stroke
when I
of
came.
midnight because that's his thing. Basically, he's making out with her. There's 15 seconds left before New York strikes midnight.
Taps record on his
He has a
Home Alone device.
His talk boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has his own personal giant talk boy. Hits record at like 5 seconds to midnight, right? And then 3, 2, 1, and then stab, and her screams are being recorded
And
as
they're like,
as well
"Yay," and
as the
she's like,
radio.
"Ah."
Yeah. Yeah. This movie is also very void of actual like kills.
Yeah, you don't see anything. You just see him afterwards dead.
Yeah. Yeah. The only time that there's an actual kill on screen is the next one that we see. So he then goes and calls back Diane.
Uh,
Right? And he's like, I told you that I would kill.
I thought
and
we
I
axed
did.
that voice.
No, I like where he goes, I did one on midnight Eastern Standard Time. And you're like, is that needed?
Oh.
Like, she gets it.
Yeah.
Like, she's fine. I also like this, too, where she gets the phone handed to her, and he's like, hey, it's evil. And she's like, oh, hey, I was wondering if you're calling back. He's like, did you hear what I said? It's evil. Like, he's mad that
He's
she
like-
didn't, like, be like, oh, my God.
It's like those villains in kids' movies that are like, I'm short and angry. You're not listening to me.
Can you imagine if he just blew his cover and be like, bitch, you never listen to me.
Yeah. I'm mad. This is why Thanksgiving sucked.
I told you, Eastern Standard Time.
So he proves to her that he killed someone, and she's like, God dang it.
So,
And then we flash over to Disguise 2.
yeah, right? Which is the best fake mustache that we've seen in movies, by the way. But we do need to rewind for a second.
Okay.
We missed Derek's scene.
Oh, Derek. Oh, yeah, Derek, for some reason, just...
So Derek
Cutting
calls
up
his mom,
pantyhose.
right? Derek calls his mom and basically is like, Mom? And she's like, what? He's like, whatever. It'll be a surprise or something, right? And then, like, he's basically, like, calling her and is like, Mom, I got, like, 3 red pills here, and I'm about to leave the Matrix forever.
I was like, jeez.
Yeah. And takes the 3 red pills,
That's like
and
past
that
the
does
Matrix.
nothing.
I don't know what they're supposed to do.
Right? I was like, oh, suicide.
Let him not have an allergic reaction to the pantyhose he's about to put over his face?
Make him not feel the pin that he
Yeah.
stabs through his ear.
Like, ow.
Right? So yeah, he has these red pantyhose and he's in the mirror and he's like he's monologuing to himself, like while rubbing and stretching the pantyhose all over his like mouth and face and like kind of ripping them open, and then is like, oh wait, no, I'm gonna put them over my head. And then puts them over his head and then takes a like pin cushion, long pin, and stabs it through his ear.
A little bit crazy.
What
I
is
think.
happening? And then he has a switchblade, right?
Yeah.
Right, which is the same weapon that the killer uses, right? So
Well,
you're
see,
like, what is happening?
Now I'm wondering if the dad didn't kill the friend at the start, and if he actually killed the friend at the start.
You think so?
Maybe.
Wow, that's deeper than this movie I ever possibly thought it was, and that's not even that deep.
I know.
Wow.
Like, he helped his dad out because he did like his dad, and his dad was even like, tomorrow we're going to go watch a football game at the Rose Bowl.
Right? He's like, I'm going to take my son to the Rose Bowl. I'm like,
jeez, it's just the Rose Bowl.
were you denied taking him to the
don't-
Rose Bowl?
Okay, like, I'm not a Southern California native, neither are you. Why do people love the Rose Bowl?
I don't understand.
It's just like football.
Yeah. But it's not even like important football.
Yeah.
It means nothing to anything except that moment.
It's literally just a
There's
bowl
literally
of
Rose
roses.
Bowl people like,
I love the Rose Bowl.
why would you be
It means
listening to us?
everything. Yeah, we don't do sport. Yeah. So then we flash over, and Killer has a killer mustache, and he is in the bar.
Yes. A bar that is also just as blah and boring as the party that Diane's at.
I would say Diane's party is a little bit better, but this bar is like dive bar with a lot of room, but not a lot of people. Which,
Yes.
frankly, I think if you go to any bar on New Year's Eve, it's going to be pretty packed, just because people are like, "Well, I don't want to go home."
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think something's going to be as empty as that bar, but he like immediately sees a girl and is like, "Let's go," and she's like, "Okay, let me pee first." She's got this really weird, obnoxious voice, but I also love this character. But so then he's like, "Let's meet outside," and they do, and she's like, "I wouldn't go somewhere without my friend," and I was like, "That's actually really smart."
Right.
She's really smart about that.
Well, I love how he's like, yeah. I work I'm kind of like a business manager for Eric Estrada. And you're like, oh, whoa, what a heavy pull you got there, buddy.
Oh.
The punch? I love chips. Like, really? Eric Estrada?
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have thought of like an actual movie star?
I know.
Like,
Well, maybe he's like, I want to lowball it, but like
You're
not
right.
get too excited, but enough to be like, yeah, okay, like maybe I'll see someone more famous there. Like maybe
Right.
Eric's got a good friend or two.
But at the same time, if you were going to take her to Eric Estrada, that's probably a bad plan because he
Yeah.
was a womanizer. like if you weren't trying to kill her, right? So
she takes her friend and they're driving and chatting, and he's very upset that like he's about to miss the next
yeah,
clock.
yeah.
And so
Which is another thing where it's like, if that's your plan,
think
like
ahead.
yeah,
Right.
like okay. So here is my take on this, where it's like, if your plan is like, I'm going to kill at the stroke of midnight for the next 4 midnights, right? And the only one that is like I'm not in control of is the final one with Diane, because she's like in a public place.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just like? It makes me sound psychopathic. I'm like, why don't you just kidnap the other 3 and then
And do it eventually and just dump their bodies somewhere. To
Yeah.
Be like, oh, it's over here now. Oh, it's over there now.
yeah.
Or kill them beforehand. Put them on ice. They'll be fine.
Well, because that's not like the psychologist in the movie says, like,
Yeah.
that's not his MO. Like, he gets off on this. And it's like, yeah, he does, but like his plan almost goes to shit here and then does go to shit by Mountain Standard Time.
When the detective said his MO, it made me think of one of my like favorite Mystery Science Theater jokes, because it's from Teenage Strangler. And
Yeah.
the guy's like, well, it looks like that's the murderer's MO. And Crow leans out over and just goes, he means modus operandi. Like, just over explaining things that like they just definitely put in the movie just to be like, we know lingo of things.
Right.
We know that MO is a thing. We know cop jargon. Which,
Yeah.
Like, every time I hear stupid, like, over-the-top cop jargon, I'm like, that's just so you can, like, prove for your movie.
Oh, for sure.
Like, just say, God, that's his thing. That's his bag. That's his game.
Right. So
yeah.
So it's the 3 of them in his Mercedes, and they're driving around, and
Before
he's getting
seatbelts were invented.
yeah, he's getting more and more nervous as it's like it's 10 minutes till 12. He's like, "What the fuck am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?"
And one of the girls
Right?
like, I gotta pee.
he's being like blade blocked.
Yeah.
Because he needs to kill one or
Yeah.
both of them. and record it. Like, he's really, like, painted himself into a corner. Like, fuck, right? Yeah. Like, you couldn't have found, like, does it have to be a woman? Well, because he's got mother issues.
Thing, Well, woman issues.
Yeah.
Which probably did stem from his
Well, he says mother issues. The psychologist says mother issues.
Said women issues.
He goes, he's got mother issues, and that's why, like, he mutilates their breasts.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't see him mutilating breasts because you don't show anything in this movie.
Yeah.
So he gets this bright idea, and he's like, hey, like, well, no, he doesn't even get the idea.
One girl's like, I gotta pee. Yeah.
Because the one girl is talking to him about being like, oh, like, I meditate and stuff like that, right? And then he's like, yeah, and she's like, my friend meditates too, because sometimes she gets nervous diarrhea. I'm like, nervous diarrhea?
She just goes all in on her friend.
Like, you imagine being like, I just shit myself. Like, what?
I mean, like, don't make fun of it. Like, some people have that. Jeez.
Nervous diarrhea?
I can't control it. I'm kidding. Yeah. I do get like anticipation poops where it's like, oh, I got something coming up, like an interview, and then I have to just go poop.
You have to audition and you just shit yourself on stage. Like,
I dreamed a dream of
new undies.
Whoops.
Yeah, it was such a weird line. Yeah. Like, right? And then it goes back where she's like, could you pull over? I gotta go inside, right? And then there's a throwaway line where she's like, I guess she really got nervous.
Yeah. He hands the other friend a $100 bill and is like, buy the most expensive bottle of champagne you can. And she's like, all right. She goes in, she gets the bottle of champagne, she comes out. Oh, before she does that, though, while she's peeing, her friend is in the car, and the guy's like, you want some grass? I got some real good Cuban stuff.
This is the best scene in the movie.
Oh, it is.
This is the best.
So he throws a bag.
Wait. Okay. No, let's really describe this bag. Okay.
He pulls out, like, what would be a shopping bag size, maybe more, but it's clear plastic, which I was like, I've only seen that at work. I've never seen that outside anywhere else. Like, maybe, like, it's also thick plastic. It's not like a dryer bag or something.
Right? And he's like, I got the best kush in town. You want to smell this?
Yeah. And she's like, let me stick my head in it. And then he just starts choking her, and she's like, oh, God, oh, no. And there's, like, blood flying around her face. She's like, this would be great if I wasn't lying. Like, chewing it. She's like, is this chewing weed?
And then he wastes the weed because he keeps the bag on her head.
He leaves it with her. And I was like, during that time, I'm sure that was expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So then he, like, leaves a trail of, like, shoes and a dress sticking out. And the friend comes out, and she's like, oh, no. And she opens up the dumpster. And then all of a sudden,
he literally leaves trails because he does this then and then does it for the cops for these two bodies later. Yeah. He's leaving trails like he's Elliot from E.T. for like leaving Reese's Pieces out.
So she opens up the dumpster and he pops out and he's like, "Gotcha!"
Like this is the part where I was like, he looks weird with the mustache. Like he looked like a different guy.
Yeah.
Right? He like lights a lighter to light his face up, right? Well, meanwhile, why are you hiding in the dumpster?
Hide behind pop out and get her from the back.
Right?
Stab her in the spine. She won't be able to run.
I'd rather her had found her friend in the dumpster, screamed, and then he's behind her and stabs her, you know? Like, he does weird things like this, because later on, he's like, hey, officer, I found a drunk. And then is like, instead of being like, I'm going to use the knife that I have, I'm going to hit you over the head with this random brick.
Yeah.
You know? So
he kills him, and then he, like, obviously makes his call to Blaze. And then
he recorded it, too.
Yeah, he recorded it, too. Then two cops come and try and find him, and like one girl, the girl with the bag of weed over her head, is like strung up and like held up by a swing.
Well, because he says something about like, because he's also trying to be the Riddler in this movie. He's like leaving clues as to where they are, right? He'll tell you the cross sections of the street and then be like, those girls were swingers.
Yeah.
And you're like, is that supposed to be a joke? Is that like, I don't. Like, is that
only
a clue?
One girl was on the swing, though.
Yeah, like, and so basically the cops show up and they're like, "Look at this blood on the dumpster."
Flashlight cam, like you can only see what the flashlight's pointing at.
I love it. They're like, look at this blood on the dumpster, and they try to open the dumpster, and a cat comes out like, wow!
Like, who keeps putting cats in
and
these
then they're like,
things?
they don't then look in the dumpster.
Yeah.
They immediately just go on and be like, look, more
it's
blood
just
over here.
A bloody cat.
It's like, you should check the dumpster, because that's where I thought it was going to be.
It was like the first movie that figured out you could duct tape a flashlight to the top of a camera. Like, that's how it all looks. And they, like, find the girl on the swing, and they're like, oh, no. And then someone's like, maybe something else over here. And they're like, yeah, true, we should look over there. And, like, you see a body, like...
I didn't put any tape in the camera. Why? Because I already duct taped the flashlight to the top of the camera.
So they they go over and like scenes of grass, and then you see the bottom of the slide, and they're like, oh, the bottom of the slide. And the body goes, whoop, and right as the body slid down, I was like, Jonathan's gonna be like, how did the body slide down? Who pushed it down? Was he there? Did he just time it? How did the body slide down? I was like, Jonathan's gonna have such a problem with that.
I didn't have a problem with it. I just went, it's the same thing that happened in Slumber Party.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like a body like slowly drifted down out of the ceiling just in time to scare somebody. It's like I had a problem with it because there's a problem with it, not because it's me being eccentric. I had a problem because there's a problem. The body just slid down on cue.
I know.
as if the killer was like, you stay up here, and when a flashlight shines on you, you just drop. You got that? Body.
She's holding herself with her knees, and she's like, I got this. This is my scene. This is my scene. And she's like, all right, deep breath. Don't breathe out to this.
What's another thing is, like, the actress actually had to do what you're saying happened.
Which is why I think that she was like, wee.
So she slides down, and she's got her throat slit, and that's the end of those two.
Then we get his priest costume because he's feeling holy. And he's driving, and he's, like, listening to the radio. And the radio is talking about, like, watch out, there's a murderer on the loose. But then it also switches over to just the news.
Yeah.
At some point, and it's like, Palestine is taken over by, like, I don't remember what they were
no,
talking.
it was like the Secretary of State is now whoever it was.
Like, why are we appointing secretaries of state at, like,
in New Year's Eve?
10 p.m., like, on New Year's Eve? Like, I feel like that's a different time for voting.
No, that would have been, at that point, that would have been 10 p.m. L.A., so, like, in D.C. where they would have done it, people were already like, this is the perfect time, I'm drunk, you are Secretary of State.
Probably better policies than what we've got today, so.
No, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was an appointment from earlier in the day, which you still shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. So then, he's got his priest costume, but he's distracted by the new secretary because he's like, oh, I voted on that one. And then he runs into a motorbiker. And, like, a gang of
runs into it.
Yeah,
okay, this is where the movie takes a strange turn and decides that it wants you to kind of be concerned for the killer.
Yeah, like, oh, I hope he's okay.
I hope he gets out of this.
Yeah,
because it becomes like a bumble.
He, like, zooms away, like, backs up, like, goes a different turn. All of the bikers start chasing him. He drives up to a movie theater and is casually like, it's a drive-in movie theater.
Wait, and it's doing a marathon called like Monster Palooza or Spookathon, right? And I was like, I would love Spookathon, like on New Year's. I would do that.
Or a Spookapalooza.
Right?
It's from Scooby-Doo the movie.
So,
I'm just going to keep saying it until someone out there is like, I love Scooby-Doo.
He's driving it home, and I love it.
It's different than our normal. So he like pulls up to the Spookapalooza, and casually is like, here's $5 I'd love to watch. And, like, drives in. But meanwhile, like, after he drives in, you see all the motorbike people follow him. Bikers, Jarrett. Bikers.
Yeah.
God. And all the bikers are just like,
people.
Like, just zoom past.
They don't even care about paying.
And I was like, how did he have time to stop and give him money and be casual and cordial? Like, but the bikers were like, we gotta get him. So he parks and he, like, hides.
Plus, like, would a priest be seeing Spookapalooza?
Right? I know.
Right? Especially because they were showing real trailers for Grindhouse movies from back in the day, like Blood Feast. I'm like, they're like, Father, maybe you shouldn't be here tonight.
It's a bad one. And he's like, it's my naughty night.
You see this blood? It's full of, I mean,
it's full of blood. You see this blood? It's got blood in it.
You see this blood? It's full of knife.
So he goes in, he, like, manages to avoid them, and they, like, the bikers start attacking a different car, and he's like, scooting around. Scary farts. What are they called? What do we call them?
Well, this movie directly rips off of Friday the 13th music. It's like
yeah, but it's not even like that fun. It doesn't have those patterns. It's just got cha cha.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Ow.
Cha.
Like there's no echo effect, but there's definitely one like ksha, and it's definitely a person like trying to say a word, but not a full like the sound of a portion of a word. And they're like kick.
Which is funny because the first Friday the 13th came out like maybe months before this.
Yeah.
So it's like they watched it and were like, put that in the movie. Cha cha cha.
Get it in there. Cha cha cha.
Right?
But there are also times throughout the movie where it's like there's supposed to be like a weird guitar riff, and it'd just be like, and you're like, oh, like I'm sorry if you're listening to that with headphones on, but that's how drastic it was. Like just some weird like shatter of noise.
Yes.
For half a second, and then it's gone, and you're like, was that supposed to be in the movie? Like not even that long, and be like, and you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, so he hides from the bikers, and the bikers start. The bikers start
just
attacking.
happens randomly through the movie.
They're like, we're gonna play the song again because
they play it 3 times in the movie, by the way.
And they
two times like 5 minutes within each other. Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
So much New Year's Evil. And so then he one
of the bikers actually is like, hey, it's you, right? And he's like, I'm a man of God.
Bitch. And he's like, please, I'm a man of God. I don't want any trouble. Stabs him in the gut and kills him. And it's like, oh, okay. So then he pulls a guy out of the car and he's like, give me your car. And he's like, what do you mean?
Where's the fucking keys?
Yeah.
Right? And the guy's like, in the ignition. Right?
Where we would normally keep them? Jeez, sorry.
Right? Throws him down to the ground.
Steals his girlfriend in the back that's wearing a bright purple jumpsuit, tracksuit, whatever suit.
Who was like,
suit.
who the actress, I guess, was like toying with the idea of whether or not she's going to show her nipples in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
she's got like a little bit of side nip.
If a nip slip happens, it's okay, but like, I'm not really going for it.
They're like, so they're making out in the back seat, the original owner of the car and her, and he's like, upper cupping her, like just the top cup, just the top half of the boob, and he's like, I think it's time, and she's like, maybe the next
movie.
She's like,
they're smoking weed.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not wet yet. You gotta make it rain if you want to go down this slide.
What? That's not a phrase.
No, it's not, but I made it one.
Okay.
Yeah, so he kidnaps the car and the girl, I guess, and they drive off. And she's like, "Don't kill me. I'll do anything."
Yeah,
Here, I got $30.
I get $30, and he's like, "I don't want your money." And he's like has his switchblade up in the air, like so that she can see, and he's kind of like just kind of twirling it around a little bit.
And she's like, cute,
right? And he's like, "I don't want your money," and like slides the blade close, right? And she's like, "Well, you know, we can get it on if you like. I won't even struggle, right?" And because of that, he's like, "Well." Click and like flicks the blade back open and be like, that was the wrong answer.
I like him to struggle, you idiot.
Right? Like, yeah, obviously don't know the rules of a slasher. Let's do this.
So then, like, as he's driving, he's somehow like 2 drunks are passing the street.
How could he not avoid them?
No, see, that's the thing. Like, he was normally in the road, and the drunks are like, "What are you doing? You're gonna run us over!" But it was the slowest interaction that literally needed no confrontation. And then, like, he gets out of the car and he's like, "I'll slash you and cut you," and the girl runs off, and the guys are like, "Whoa, dude, calm down." So then he runs after the girl.
Yeah, but he like holds a knife to them.
Yeah,
and it's like, nah, get out of my way.
Angry, he's like,
right?
I'm mad.
And this is where like the soundtrack actually has like the one decent thing where it's like kind of synthy. And I was like, "Oh, do that now!" Right? It was like kind of stalky.
Don't
right?
forget that noise.
And then it forgot about it within like 10 seconds. And this is where. Maybe if it was a different weapon, it would have been scary.
Oh, when he's so he's like he's chasing after her, she's hidden, and he's like tapping the bleachers. I thought he was tapping the bleachers to be like, if she's on one of these seats,
it'll sound differently, right?
That's not the case at all. He's just tapping because he loves a good rhythm.
Tap tap tap.
That was.
Taparoo.
I'll get a text about that in a week being like, he loves a good rhythm. And I'll be like, who said that? But yeah, so he's
just auditioning for Stomp.
Yeah. He's like, ding, 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 ding. But he's just doing that for fun. And then he eventually sees her bright purple jumpsuit glowing underneath like the announcer's stand of this baseball field because they're in a park now somehow.
Yeah.
And he like kicks a trash can towards her, and he's like going near her, but then he looks back, and the two guys that he almost ran over, like, there are cops there now, miraculously.
And
but I guess like they're patrolling parks
because there's an all APB now.
Yeah,
and that's All Points Bulletin.
Thank you. So then the guy's like, over there, over there, over there.
Right. Now, okay, this is where you hear off camera a cop being like, hey, you there, stop. Like, what's going on? Right? And he runs.
He's like, okay.
And still off camera, you hear the cop go, you okay, ma'am? And, like, cuts away. And it's like, how about run after the guy?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the two drunks were like, that guy, that priest, right, pulled a knife on us and then ran after that girl.
Yeah.
So, pretty sure if you're a cop, you will be like, hey, stop, and chase after him.
Yeah.
Especially if there's an all points bulletin that there's a guy out stabbing people. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure we're at a period where it's like, you would have been like, somebody go check on her. I gotta go chase that guy. Like, nobody chases him.
No one cares.
No. So
then he somehow miraculously has picked a park that's super close to the Holiday Inn, and he's there now. He's at the hotel. He's straight up just like time traveled. Not time traveled, teleported. But who knows? It's New Year's. He can do anything. So they're not letting anyone in the building or out of... Well, they're letting people out of the building, but they can't come back in. So he can't get into the building, so he's like, I'll go in through the parking garage. And that's when he goes and he sees the two cops, and then he's like, hey, cop, there's a drunk over here. I need help.
Yeah.
Like, and a cop's just like, all right.
Yeah, right.
Walks towards him for some reason. And the cop then gets hit in the head with a brick instead of slashed. But I guess he like didn't want to kill the cop.
Maybe he didn't want to ruin the uniform.
Yeah. So then,
yeah, go on.
Yeah. So he, well, yeah, I guess, because then he puts on the uniform and just strolls past the other cop that was there. And I'm pretty sure the other cop is like, I got to go to the bathroom, be right back. But then he walks past him, and the other cop's like, hey, never seen you before, but I'll allow it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's okay. That's normal.
I'm George. Well, hey, George.
Yeah.
Well,
first day on the job, I'm late. I'm a transfer.
Right.
Same excuse.
Would you like some champagne? And I got a record. I got a tape player. I got a talk boy.
So he goes in.
And a whole trunk of costumes.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
He hid it in the hotel earlier.
You think
so?
Which
is why I think the sun was supposed to be
in on it, and it just didn't.
It didn't read.
We missed a part because there's so many like flashbacks to Diane backstage in this movie that don't mean anything. Right?
When he's like creeping around with the
he's got the pantyhose still in his head, and now like 80s sunglasses with like one little slash in it that you can see through, right?
Like
and is like listening
Star
in.
Trek?
Geordie LaForge. Yeah. It's like that. Those kind of 80s glasses, right? Like one little beam. He looks like the Cylons.
Cyclops.
Yeah, he looks like the Cyclops or the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. Yeah. Like it's those kind of glasses, and he's just walking around behind like curtains and sets, like listening in on the detectives, but it means nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure like there was a whole side plot or something edited out.
Yeah.
That he was manipulating something, or I don't know.
I think he was part of it.
Yeah.
So our killer gets into the hotel, finds like elevator
decides to
control.
Decides to do another costume change.
Yeah. He goes up.
He goes
you
up
see him
to
costume change, but you don't see where he goes.
Right.
So then we go to Diane, and she and the police chief.
Yeah, one of the police
detective.
officers. Yeah.
They like guide her in the room
Not
just
the
to
detective,
be safe.
just a police officer.
Yeah.
Different.
Okay.
Two different people. Same basic
really
thing.
Kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're interchangeable, and they could have.
None of them have names. None of them matter to the plot. None of them die. None of them.
Nope. Yeah. Only one gets shot, and that's just a guy we've never even seen
my
before.
Shoulder.
Like, somebody get him attention.
And then, so they go up to Diane's room, and Diane's like, "I'm scared." And it's her son.
Right,
like
because the officer is like, "Freeze, asshole," and he's like, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And she hears his voice and is like, "No, that's my son."
You almost killed my son. How dare you?
Right.
It's like, well, no one's supposed to be in there, idiot.
So,
and then son leaves.
The son is like, there was a surprise for you, but I don't want to be a part of it now, and leaves.
Bitter.
Right, and we don't see him to the end of the movie again. He just left. Right,
and then. she keeps getting ready, and then killer comes out with a mask on, and then this is when you find out that it's actually her husband. It's a weirdest looking mask. I loved it though. I was like, this would be so good and creepy if this is what was used the entire time.
Thank you. Right?
I thought it was a good one.
Right? I think that this movie,
because it was kind of creepy, and it gave the killer an emotion.
Yes.
Which I loved.
Right?
I loved the emotion of the mask.
Unless you're quoting Shakespeare underneath the mask.
Oh, that was the dumbest thing. Oh my god.
Yes, this mask. Okay, so here's how I would have presented this movie, right? I would have had all the killer. I would have been filming him over the shoulder the whole time. I would have not. Everybody, it's like, it's kind of his perspective, but kind of not, right? I would have had his lines off camera. Everybody's talking to him, and obviously they're like, like the girl at the bar. She's like, she's enthused by him, like it's just like everybody's like, oh yeah, right. But then when it's time to kill, when the countdown's going on, maybe their back is turned and he puts on the mask, something. And then you see it from their perspective, like the camera switches, just anything to really incorporate this mask that just isn't used.
Yeah.
Like, it is used for this one thing, and because it's so out of nowhere, it's laughable. Because, like, he comes up from behind on Diane, and is like, burr, 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 burr. Right? His hands are like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. But then it's like, as you think he's about to kill her, he's like, haha, I'm your husband. And she's like, oh, hey. And then he's like, I'm going to go talk to the cop out there and let him know that I'm not murdering you.
I'm going to incriminate myself immediately.
Yeah.
You could have just stayed in the hotel room with her, walked out with her, and then they don't even have time to where she's like, this is my husband, we're going.
Yeah.
But
instead he's like, oh, so-and-so gave me the clearance because I'm her husband. And immediately the police officer, smart move, which I was very surprised about.
Way smart.
Was like, hey, this guy just said he got clearance to come up here, but I don't believe it. Can you check it? And they were like, oh, shit. Turns out the car that we found is his car. He's the murderer. Get him. Meanwhile, he's manipulating the elevator with the knowledge that Blaze is on it because of the video camera on the elevator.
That also has audio?
Yeah, I was real surprised by that, especially for 1980s.
Right. I don't think any surveillance cameras have like audio like in elevators.
So he makes the elevator drop like a bunch of floors, and it knocks it makes them fall to the ground, and they're like, we're so scared, we're dying.
No, we're so scared. The cop has no emotion.
Well, I mean, but like at the bottom when they fall, they both pass out, like because the elevator hit. I don't know, some elevator logic, and then the cop he gets kicked in the head because the guy's like, I want to make sure that you're passed out. And he karate kicks him. And then he takes Diane and he starts he handcuffs one hand and zips up her jumpsuit.
And then he's sits down beside her.
Yeah. So he's like, hey, you're a terrible mom. But he's
the motivation is the worst motivation in the history of killer movies.
Okay, so basically while he's talking about this device records so you don't have to do it on time, which I thought he was going to be
He was like modern technology, huh?
I thought he was going to be like, modern technology means you can see me more, you dumb idiot. I thought he was going to pull one of those cards, and I was like, really weird motive, but out of the box, I like it. And then instead he's like, you were just mean and I hate you, so I'm going to kill you and then have fun with my son.
Well, okay. It would have been even if he's like, this thing records in modern technology, huh? And then switches over to another tape, which reveals that on a voicemail or something, an answering machine, that she was cheating. Anything better than you were flirting with people and you didn't recognize that our son landed an audition on his own.
Yeah. Without
dropping your name.
Yeah.
That's his motivation. Is you don't give enough attention to our son, and you always some about an allowance.
Yeah.
What I don't right? Yeah, because he was like, you and that bitch, whatever. He's referring to the black lady from the beginning of the movie. Is you and that bitch. You just decide if I get an allowance or not, and you're like, what? How many motivations is there for you to kill? And none of them are legitimate.
Yeah. So then he chains her up and handcuffs her to the bottom of the elevator and sends the elevator on a wild ride.
Love this.
Yeah. And then while she's in the underneath of the elevator, in the elevator shaft, she finds the body of her friend from the start of the movie.
No, that's at the top, but not that it matters.
Well, it's
but
in the elevator
yeah.
shaft. But still, it's like, how did you get her in there? Why did you put her in there? What's the point?
Right. No, because basically he wants her to think about, because he says, think about your sins all the way up and then all the way down.
Yeah. So
right?
he's taking her on a wild ride.
But like, what are her sins?
Yeah, I don't know.
What are like this horrible television program?
Yeah.
That's one of them, maybe.
So then, meanwhile, like,
hiring the band Shadow and Made in Japan.
Bad music. Yeah. So then, like, the cops find him, and he's like, "Oh, gotta go," and he like runs up the stairs to the roof, and this is where one cop gets shot.
Why weren't
but he puts his
this?
mask
This
back
takes
on,
a
too.
lot of effort,
Yeah.
like, and a lot of time that the cops were not going
He ran
floor
up,
to floor.
Like 10 stair flights. Oh my god, 10 flights of stairs.
I mean,
maybe more.
Yeah, because like that building's at least 15 flights.
Yeah.
Right? He runs a while, right? Gets all the way to the roof, and is like, I'm going to put back on the mask. Why?
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
And then recites Shakespeare about death as the cops find him.
Right?
He's like,
another thing is like the cop
to
has
dream, to
the drawl
sleep,
on him.
to eternity die. I don't know what that speech is.
I think it's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
But he basically, the cop has the draw on him and is like, put down your weapons, right? Puts down the gun and then like takes the switchblade and like has it dangling from his fingertips and then proceeds to open the blade.
Yeah.
Right? Where I'd be like, well, I'm going to fire now.
Well, that's
a
poor mentality of a lot of cops. So
right?
Maybe don't do that.
But why would you open the blade?
'Cause you're
unless you
dumb.
intend to then throw it at me, maybe.
Yeah.
He opens the blade, then drops it, recites like to dream, to sleep no more, and then dives off the building,
Kills himself.
and then becomes a ragdoll dummy mannequin.
Yeah.
Like,
and everyone's standing around and they're like, "Oh no!" And his son like picks up the mask
was
off.
just
of him.
randomly
Yeah.
outside now.
His son was like, "Dad, no!" Takes the mask off of him, and then it also shows them putting Diane in an ambulance, and the ambulance guy in the back with Diane is like, "Hey, let's go!" And the guy at the front's like, "Silent, but okay." And they start driving away, and you look up, and it's the son with the mask on.
Right,
And there's a dead ambulance guy next
first
to him.
it shows the final kill of the movie, which is the actual ambulance driver. Ambulance, and then pans over to the son in the mask, and you're like, not a twist at all, but
Yeah,
okay,
we saw it coming.
Yeah, like nothing's a twist in this movie,
And that's it.
like. My resolution is to not see
My resolution is murder.
not to see bad movies anymore, but then we wouldn't have a show.
Right.
So W's?
Oh, I would actually play it at a New Year's party, like as background noise.
That's what.
Yeah.
So I do have a resolution. And it's one of those things where it was like, at first I was like, I don't know.
Have more parties.
Well, yeah. I thought to myself, I don't know what to. We've been talking about it for a while where it's like, how do we end this? How do we end the show? And then I was like, oh, I'm going to starting with the next episode actually is, because there wasn't really any, like, people who actually legitimately reviewed this, like, as a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, and were serious about it.
Yeah.
Everybody that I found on here is talking about the Shout Factory Blu-ray that came out in 2015. And they're like, love the transfer, love the stuff. So, I didn't really have any bad, good reviews to point out, but my W's are exactly like New Year's Party, do Terror Train with it, do Trading Places, which is also like takes place that week after Christmas, movies like that, New Year's movies. Other than that, I got nothing for this movie. Like it was just, it's very it's very forgettable, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have much going on for it.
True.
It doesn't have gore or really memorable, like, haha, that was hilarious. So, with that being said, make sure you follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, at Bombs Away Show. Make sure that you now follow us on YouTube. Search for Bombs Away and search for Slumber Party Massacre or for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, and we'll come right up. Make sure you subscribe. We need you to subscribe so that we can eventually say, hey, just go to youtube.com/bombsawayshow. They won't give it to us unless we have 100 subscribers. Other than that, well, that just does it for the end of the year for us.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, folks. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Jarrett.
And I'm Niven.
Hey everyone, this is Jarrett with Bombs Away Podcast. I'm here at the Frida Cinema, once again recording for your all's pleasure. Frida Cinema, that sounds pretty familiar. Oh yeah, it's because we bring it up so much. It's where we live, it's where we record. Now, you may know of the Frida Cinema, but you may not know enough about the Frida Cinema. So the Frida Cinema is a program of the Long Beach Cinematique, and it's located in Santa Ana in Southern California. It services neighboring communities as a non-profit art house cinema, dedicated to educating, connecting, and enriching communities through the art of cinema, which is a pretty amazing experience. But how do they do that? Well, one of the ways they do that is with shadow casting. So shadow casting, if you don't know, is whenever they have a cast below the screen acting out the movie as the film is projected behind them, which is pretty neat. But that's not all. They also get audience participation, so you feel like you're part of the film, that you have that amazing enriching experience. Some of the films that we do shadow cast with are Little Shop of Horrors, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Repo the Genetic Opera, and The Forbidden Zone. When was the last time you heard of The Forbidden Zone? Am I right, ladies? Other things that we do, if you're not into Shadowcast, but you love that audience participation, are special events. We've done Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and it was a lights and sound spectacular, and there were also words along the bottom of the screen that helped you know when to participate in the film. And maybe you just want to watch a film, which is okay, because the Frida Cinema does show films, but maybe you want to watch a film in a different atmosphere. Well, the Frida Cinema has rooftop showings. Some of the films that have shown on our rooftop are the most recent Beauty and the Beast, or Ghostbusters, and Jurassic Park. One of the cool things that happened with Ghostbusters and Jurassic Park is we actually had guests. For instance, Jurassic Park had the guest of the Jeep Wrangler, you know, that nice tan and red Jeep that we see just driving all around that park. It's an amazing photo opportunity, and it's something you get to brag about to your friends and post on that Instagram. If you want more information about the showtimes, location, and everything film and entertainment related to the Frida Cinema, just go to www.thefridacinema.org. You can also follow on Facebook at facebook.com/thefridacinema, and on Instagram and Twitter at thefridacinema. The Frida Cinema, for the filmmakers, the film goers, and for you.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?